Chapter 1-14. The hero covers his face with his hand, trying to recover. He makes a mental note that taking off his clothes without saying a word is not very nice, even if he is a teenager, but still a man. Then Chu King notices the woman's wound. 5 terrible holes, located in the area of the left shoulder blade, emit a strange black force. The guy is amazed that the people who attacked the woman used a very destructive poison attack. He stresses that even if her strength restrains her, within 5 days, her internal organs will collapse and rot. The interlocutor notes that she thought so, and asks if the guy can cure her. The hero approaches her from behind and puts his hand on the wound, saying that he will try to do it. He concentrates, starting to suck the poison out of the wound. The woman notices the fact that it becomes easier for her. Chu King focuses on himself, then gets rid of the poison. He then explains that with his current abilities, he can only extract some of the poison, for he doesn't dare to suck out all the poison at once, because he can't know what will happen then. The woman first asks how he managed to do this, but then she asks him to forget about it, noticing the fact that everything is fine, and now she feels much better. At the same time, the woman puts on her outer clothing. A representative of the fair sex clarifies how she can thank the doctor and what he needs. Chu King claims that he doesn't want anything, but that he did it because he and Yi Chengxi are friends. This elicits a strange chuckle from the other woman, who notices that she has completely forgotten about the fact that he and Chengxi are friends. She emphasizes the last word in a special tone, which makes the hero feel that it sounds very awkward. Yi Chengxi goes out with a guy outside the house. A taxi is waiting for him. The girl admits that she would never have thought that the interlocutor would really be able to heal the trauma of her mother. She abruptly hugs Chu King, asking him not to leave today so that she can repay him and give him a gift. Chapter 15. The guy pushes the brunette away from him, refusing her offer, explaining that if his parents find out that he spent the night at the house of another girl, they will go crazy. Chu King jumps in the car, and the owner of the establishment says that after all, he is a good child, and a very handsome and good-looking man, but he must be careful not to be seduced by others. The hero says goodbye, then sitting in the backseat, examines a piece of dark energy in his hand that he managed to extract from the woman. He makes a mental note that this poison is like a curse, so it can't be removed with his current powers. The hero remembers that in the magical world there was an elixir that can eliminate this poison. Chu King wonders if there are distillers in this world that can make elixir like in the fairy world. With these thoughts, he clenches his fist, suppressing the poison. The next day arrives. In the morning, the hero goes to school. On the way, he hears 2 guys trying to cheer up a certain Tang Zian. This name seems familiar to the guy, which is why he decides to take a look at what is happening. Beautiful young girl in sports uniform moves well with a basketball. He circles several members of the enemy team, and then jumps the ball into the basket. She has purple hair and amber eyes. Chu King recognizes this girl as an acquaintance. It turns out that in the normal world, this representative of the fair sex was his first love. The 2 guys standing next to each other are supporting Tang Zian. One says that his heart almost stopped, and the second notes that it was very cool. The hero looks away, realizing that this is different from his previous life, and they don't know each other in this world, so it will be strange if he feels awkward and embarrassed in front of her. Chu King is about to leave, but the girl asks him to wait a moment. When the guy looks around, she asks if they've met before. The brunette notes that they are studying at the same school, so they more or less met face to face. The interlocutor says that this is not what she meant at all. The hero swallows the lump that rises in his throat, mentally noting that Tang Zian, just like in his previous life, likes to dig deep into information. Seeing the strange face of the interlocutor, the girl asks him to forget about it. She pretentiously throws a basketball in the air, then approaches the guy at point-blank range, offering him to play basketball. Moreover, she is even willing to teach him. Chu King smiles slyly. He abruptly snatches the ball from the girl, accepting the invitation. They walk out onto the playground, where Tang Zian decides to make his own terms. If she wins, the opponent will become her boyfriend. Then the hero is interested in what will happen if he wins. The girl promises that she will do whatever he wants if she loses. At the same time, the girls begin to communicate with each other. One of them notes that Tang Zian dominates the coolest students in their school. Another says that if she could play basketball with Tang Zian, she would feel like the happiest person in this school. The competition begins. The girl confidently drives the ball. She circles the hero, then scores a 3-pointer. This slightly surprises the hero, who clearly wasn't ready for something like this. While the ball falls on the asphalt, other representatives of the fair sex support the girl. One of them screams that Tang Zian is really the best. Another believes that Tang Zian will definitely become his girlfriend. The girl herself says that she will not give in to make him her boyfriend. Chapter 1-16. Chu King stretches his neck, noting that it's getting interesting. The second round begins. The girl runs the ball again. She tries to circle the hero, but this time it is much more difficult to do. Tang Zian jumps up and down. She raises her hand with the ball over her head, intending to score another goal, but she feels that this time it's not like that. The guy jumps out high, blocking the girl's throw. The ball falls to the floor, flying away. Some schoolboy is amazed that the hero could jump so high. The two girls who supported Tang Zian mentally note that this high school student is very awesome, so they plan to write another love letter to him today. Shu King picks up the basketball, declaring that it's his turn. The girl doesn't say anything. She takes a defensive stance, preparing to defend the ring. The guy takes off from his seat. Instead of all sorts of strokes and tricks, the hero simply makes a powerful jump, which the opponent does not have time to react to. He flies so high that he easily throws the ball into the basket, then slows down his fall, catching on the basket. Before the ball touches the asphalt, Tang Zian admits defeat. It can be seen that the girl is very hard given these words, but she still pulls herself together and asks what the winner wants. Shu King reaches out to touch the girl's cheek, then lightly starts to squeeze her. He expresses a desire to woo the girl. The two guys watching this understand that he wants to dominate. One of them notices that it's very unusual and so cool. A mysterious smile appears on Tang Zian's face. She agrees to this condition, but in order to take care of her, the guy must be strong. These words confuse the hero a little. While he fell into a stupor, the representative of the fair sex leaves. The hero does not understand when she became so proud, but he quickly moves away from this, going to school for lessons. In the late afternoon, he goes to the Yi family's home to continue treating the woman. The guy concentrates his energy to take some of the poison for himself. It turns out that after he healed Auntie, he made a breakthrough in his aura and spiritual body by 30%. The treatment process is delayed until late at night. The hero leaves the Yi family's house. He is accompanied by Yi Chengxi, who tells him that he can ask for what he wants because he saved her and her mother. Shu King, hearing these words, sinks into his vulgar fantasies. He imagines a woman dressed as a maid asking him for something very seductively. Chapter 1-17. The girl doesn't understand why the other person is smiling like that. She decides to ask him if he has come up with what he wants. The hero shrugs it off, saying that so far no normal ideas have appeared in his head, so he needs a little more time to think. Shu King moves home on the street. The crescent moon illuminates the sky beautifully, and the hero's path is illuminated by lanterns. As for himself, he thinks that the next time he treats Auntie, his spiritual body will fully open up. The guy is a little surprised by the fact that in the new world he progresses much faster. At the same moment, a car stops next to him, and a young man in a pink bathrobe with wool slippers gets out. The boy walks up to the hero, adjusting his glasses in pathos and asking if he is the same Shu King who wanted to hit on Tang Zian. Spitting on the ground, the unknown person declares that the interlocutor is not handsome at all, after which he clarifies whether he has heard of him, Lai Yue. The hero does not understand what kind of idiot got in his way. After receiving no response, Lai Yue takes it as an insult. He is going to prescribe a delicious bream to the interlocutor to bring him to his senses. The hero grabs his hand by the wrist, and then easily rings it behind his back, making it impossible for him to resist. The arrogant rich man gets hurt, so he demands his bodyguards to intervene and kill Shu King. The brunette is not lost in this development of events. He grabs Lai Yue's head, then slams him down on the asphalt. Then, with one powerful jump kick, he knocks out two opponents who were intending to interfere. Then he slams the other man down on the sidewalk again, breaking his glasses and telling him to take into account the fact that if he wants to beat him, he needs to bring more people with him. The rich man claims that the Lai family will not just leave it, and he also notes that Shu King did not even dream that Tang Zian would be with him, because their parents have already decided everything between them, so she will marry him. The hero also prescribes a powerful hook to the guy, noting to himself that he creates too much noise, and this pisses him off. After that, the guy dusts off his hands and continues on his way home. He assumes that Tang Zian or her family is in trouble, otherwise they wouldn't be able to agree to a wedding with the Lai family. The hero recalls that his aunt mentioned a certain Lai family. The guy realizes that he doesn't have enough information, so he thinks about how to get it. The hero recalls Yi Chengxi's words that he can ask for whatever he wants. With these thoughts, he decides to turn to her for help. Shu King dials her message asking if she knows someone who has good information. Yi Chengxi immediately sends him Lin Huahua's phone number and transfers 100,000 yuan, wishing him luck. This is a bit of a shock to the guy who didn't expect her to take it so seriously and even give him money. He also understands that such cases are not cheap, and he, by the way, is a poor student. Shu King doesn't hesitate for long. He dials the girl's number, then notices that they have something to discuss. A representative of the fair sex accepts these words, only noting the fact that her services are expensive. Chapter 1-18. That same night, the guy goes to a bar. He sits down at the bar and grabs a drink. In his mind's eye, the informant didn't even ask anything during their conversation, but it sounded like a woman. Chu King doesn't know if she can be trusted. Then a small hand falls on the guy's shoulder. He turns around and sees a small girl in a hoodie with pink hair and 2 red bows. She greets him. Her name is Chen Huahua, and she is 23 years old. The girl leans over the guy, clarifying what he so wanted to know. At the same time, she calls him little brother. Before starting a conversation, the hero decides to ask whether it was Chen Huahua in front of him. Mentally, he notes that this is the real Lola. A representative of the fair sex gives a positive answer, noticing that the interlocutor can call her Huer. In between, she decides to ask what's between him and Yi Chengxi. After that, the girl explains her interest by saying that if he does not meet, then he will be her boyfriend, due to the fact that this does not sound like a request or question, but as a statement. The hero chokes on a drink that he drinks through a straw. After recovering, Chu King notes that he needs information. He asks her if she knows anything about Tan Zian's family. Huether reacts very unpredictably. She asks if this is the same Tan Zian that he beat in basketball. After that, the interlocutor makes the assumption that she is his girlfriend. The brunette calmly denies it. He has a lot of questions in his head. He doesn't understand who she is or how she knows everything. The guy assumes that she was following him. The little girl rejoices at this answer. She asks if the guy is still available. As she does so, she pokes his cheek with her finger. Chu King demands that the other party stop fooling around. Otherwise, he will find another informant. The representative of the fair sex resentfully turns away, noting that the guy is too serious because she can't even joke anymore. Huer pulls out her tablet as the story begins. It turns out that the Tan family are gods, and they own one big company and several smaller ones. In addition, there was a rumor that they had some problems, so the money was strained. The Lai family suggested that they arrange a wedding. They wanted to marry Lai Yue and Tan Zian, the Tan family's heiress, so the Lai family could help the Tan family. The hero marvels to himself that Tan Zian's family is in so much trouble, because in her previous life, she never mentioned anything like this. The guy assumes that she hid it so as not to put pressure on him. The informant decides to clarify if this is all he wanted to know or if there is something else. Chu King chuckles thoughtfully, then asks her to tell him more about alchemy. In his mind's eye, he notices that in this world, some families practice ancient martial arts, so it's possible that alchemy is also involved. Huer immediately responds by saying that the Tan family specializes in this, and they produce elixirs and medicines. These words startle me. He doesn't fully believe that there are alchemist families in this world. The hero notes that he needs more information, so he demands that the girl lay out everything that she has. Huer agrees, only saying that it will all depend on what the cute brother can offer her. A mysterious smile and a rather vulgar look, literally undressing the guy, appear on the girl's face. Chapter 1:19. Chu King also notes that he said to end it. He blushes profusely and is embarrassed by such treatment. The interlocutor laughs, deciding to tell him the truth after all. She knows about 2 types of alchemy. The first is ordinary alchemy, where the alchemist uses inner strength to create an elixir. That's what the Tan family does. But the second method uses some kind of spiritual energy. The informant doesn't know anything about this method. After hearing about the second method, Chu King immediately clings to the words about spiritual energy. He assumes that there is someone else like him in this world. Huer jumps down from the bar stool, preparing to leave. She notes that the guy has already asked her 2 questions, but he has a cute face, so he only owes her 100,000. The hero also asks the interlocutor to tell him about some reliable supplier of medicinal herbs and all that. A representative of the fair sex agrees to answer this question if the guy has lunch with her. They go to a small eatery with a sign that says pork kebab. A young waiter approaches them. He immediately recognizes the girl, noticing that she has come again. The guy asks if they have chosen what they will order. Huer orders 20 skewers of meat and 4 cold beers. After that, the hero's eyes are rounded. Chu King is startled by what he has just heard. He is surprised that women in this world also like pork, and even in such quantities. Here the hero turns back, noticing how the girls get drunk and behave like real yokels. The guy covers his face with his hands, trying to accept the fact that this world is different from him. The behavior of the interlocutor raises questions for the girl. Huer snuggles up to the guy, putting her hand on his pants. Suddenly, she begins to cry, telling her that a young man she liked rejected her because she was poor, even though she had loved him for many years. She literally squeezes into the hero's arm, noticing that she is quite flat, has a cramped apartment and plays a lot of games, but she still deserves someone who would love her. Chu King nervously gives a positive response to this. A representative of the fair sex pulls the guy down to ask if he likes her. It's getting late at night. The hero carries the girl home in his arms. He doesn't understand why you should drink so much if you can't stand it. He opens the door to the girl's apartment, after which he is a little horrified by the situation. He realizes that this lowly can't take care of her own home. There are several bags of trash down there. There are cobwebs in the corners of the apartment, and a huge amount of dirty dishes on the table. The guy puts the girl on the bed next to several toys, and then is going to leave, but the landlady wraps her arms around his neck and pulls him to her. Chapter 1-20. Hewer asks the guy not to leave and stay with her. The hero also makes a responsible decision to stay, so as not to offend the girl. She is happy about this, but the alcohol quickly acts, and she begins to fall asleep. A member of the fair sex falls on top of Chu King, falling asleep on top of him. He covers her with a blanket, then decides to read the messages on her phone. It turns out that the Tan family is known for their alchemy cultivation techniques. But when the information was leaked, the family's position was threatened. The hero opens a document on a secret transaction. Mentally, the guy emphasizes that he is more serious than he thought. Shizhang Auction House is the largest auction house in Jinmen, mainly trades with large and ancient families. A lot of elixirs pass through them. Chu King realizes that in any world, money is needed to survive, since he knows the location of several priceless items. Events are moved back a couple of days. On the roof of one of the houses, the hero meditated to restore his strength. He remembers that in the circle of immortal cultivators, there is an item called a spirit stone. It can facilitate cultivation and help in learning martial arts. The spirit stone can be obtained from one's veins, or by cultivating immortality, absorbing the aura of the heavens and earth. There are no spirit stones in this world, so the hero decides to sell them. One of these stones appears in the hero's hand. He also notices that with such a business, money will flow to him like a river. Evening comes. The guy finishes with the treatment of his aunt. A strong aura emanates from the woman. She notes that her power has finally returned. She's already planning her revenge on an old hag. The aunt thanks the guy for his help, noting that if he gets into trouble in the future, the Yi family will help him. After that, the hero leaves the house of the Yi family. He heads home, realizing that after neutralizing the poison in Auntie Yi's body, his spiritual body has opened up, so he needs to cultivate it quickly. Then someone calls the guy by name, asking him to wait. Chu King turns around. Yi Chengxi bumps into him, kissing him on the lip. After a few moments, she breaks the kiss, claiming that this is her little gift to him in gratitude for healing her mother. The bodyguard calls out to his mistress, noting that it's time for them to leave, otherwise they will be late for the meeting. The girl starts running to the car, asking for forgiveness for not being able to give the guy a ride home today, but she will return then. It will turn out to be the main gift. The hero also thinks that a kiss with a girl is also a good gift. He's a little embarrassed by what happened. After returning home, Chu King begins to cultivate. Energy radiates from it in powerful streams. He feels his transformation, so he puts his hand forward, palm up. It is as if a wound appears on it, from which a colossal amount of energy is released. It turns out that after he passed through time and space, only one item remained with him, this sword. The sword has been with him for hundreds of years, and its power is limitless, so the hero is not even sure if there is a copy of it in this world. Chu King feels that his body is moving to a new level, so he bids farewell to his weak body. A string of golden symbols spreads across the guy's skin. He is holding a sword in his hands. The hero rejoices that his spiritual body has finally been reborn. Chapter 1-21. Then the door to the room opens abruptly. A sleepy nurse enters the room, who doesn't understand why the hell her brother is making a fuss. Chu King hides his sword behind his back, and the golden symbols on his body disappear. Chu Zio rubs her eyes, looking at the guy in surprise. She sees that he is naked and nervous, and also hides something behind his back. In the girl's head there is only one thought about what is happening. My sister slams the door shut, telling my brother to continue. She apologizes for interrupting him so that he wouldn't be there, and then notices that she will come back later. Chu King makes a hand-face gesture, realizing that this is a huge misunderstanding. He dresses by hanging a talisman in the shape of a sword around his neck. In his mind's eye, he makes a mental note to go to the auction house to see how much his pebble will be worth. The guy gets to the Shizhen auction house without incident. Ott opens the door with a creaking sound as he steps inside. The young man is not exactly happy about the guest's arrival, so he emphasizes that they are closed, so the guest should return tomorrow. Chu King also holds out a spirit stone, stating that he wants to sell something, and it is definitely worth the attention of the other party. At first, the merchant does not understand what it is, considering it an ordinary yellow pebble, but when he feels bursts of energy near the object, he jumps up from his place, asking the hero's permission to look at the pebble. Taking the stone in his hands, the young man mentally notes that there is a lot of aura coming from it. He immediately understands that this item can help novice cultivators, and that it is a very rare treasure. The merchant extends his hand to the guy, introducing himself as Xia Yu. He is the heir to the Shizhen auction house. Chu King gives his name. Xia Yu gets straight to the point, asking how many of these things the brunette has, and whether they have a name. The hero also says that they are called spiritual stones. and the interlocutor already knows about their properties. He notices that at the moment he has 5 more such. The merchant offers 200,000 yuan for each stone. Besides, if the guy wants to sell all 5 right now, he'll pay him 1 million. Chu King makes a deal and then goes home. Along the way, he realizes that it was worth it because he got even more than he planned. He also notes that if everything goes as it should, he will be able to monopolize this area. The guy also realizes that soon the whole world of martial arts will stand on its ears because of such stones. Then he looks at his phone. Hua writes to him, offering to arrange a barbecue today. Here the guy sharply feels the danger. His feelings are alarming. He is attacked by an unknown man in a hood with a knife. The hero uses a sword formation, which causes a protective field to appear around him. This causes the assassin to jump back, for he does not understand what this power is. Chu King's sword also appears in his hands. He runs at a terrific speed towards the enemy, who sees only a yellow flash flying at him. One powerful blow severely injures the mercenary, who falls to his knees. The guy slowly walks up to him and puts his sword to his throat, asking him who he is. Sent it. The boy is trembling with fear. He says that Lai Yue hired him to deal with the other person. In addition, the killer notices that the employer lied to him, saying that his target was just a student. The mercenary asks you not to kill him. The hero ends the other person's life with a single swipe, telling them not to worry because their boss will soon take their bodies. Chu King becomes serious, mentally noting that he will soon reach the Lai family as well. Then he suddenly feels an unusual thump of his heart. He grabs it with his hand, not knowing what's wrong with his body or what's going on. Chapter 1-22. Chu King's entire body is burning, and his vision is swimming. He doesn't understand what's happening to him at all. His feet lead him to the nearest familiar place. It turns out to be a Hua apartment. He uses the call without understanding why he came here at all. The girl opens the door for him. She is happy that the guy has finally come. The hero abruptly grabs it. He hugs a member of the fair sex, who asks what he's up to. She's all confused by what's happening. The brunette closes the door behind him, kissing the girl on the lips. When their lips part, he apologizes for it. Mentally, he tries to understand what is happening to him today. He assumes it's because he killed a man, but in that world, he was constantly killing. He is roused from his thoughts by a girl who pounces on his neck. Hua says that the guy doesn't need to apologize, but just keep going and don't dare stop. The couple has a rough night out. When the process of intimate communication ends, they lie in bed in an embrace. The brunette reflects on the situation he's in. He admits that he didn't want to get too attached to this world, but something always goes wrong, and now he has a woman in this world. He realizes that now he has no choice but to take over this world. The next morning, the hero goes to school. He buries his head in his desk, trying to get some sleep because he didn't really manage to do it last night. Tan Zian walks into the classroom. She asks the students if Chu King is here. The hero raises his head sharply, sensing someone else's proximity. A girl with purple hair kneels in front of his desk, offering to go out and have lunch together. The words unsettle him, jolting him awake. He marvels that women in this world are so straightforward. Tan Zian suddenly leaned forward, smelling an unusual smell. She sniffed, asking why he didn't smell like another woman. Chapter 1-23. There's an awkward silence. The hero starts sweating, completely unsure of what to say. The girl looks at him intently. After finding out something for herself, she says that they have passed, and then asks where he wants to have lunch. The brunette gets up from his desk, starting to follow the fair sex. In his mind's eye, he's glad that the other woman has backed out, because if she found out that he spent the night with another girl, then trouble would be unavoidable. They head down the hall. At this time, the best friend doesn't know if he's dreaming or if Tan Zian really invited Chu Kin to dinner. Yi Chengxi's brother is surprised that the other party didn't hear about the match between them and Chu Kin's confession on the basketball court. After that, he notices the fact that a friend can watch a drink on the school forum, as there will be time. After leaving the school building, the hero decides to ask why the girl so suddenly wanted to eat with him. Tan Zian replies that she just wanted to and nothing more. Because of the hitch after the first word, you can understand that the girl wanted to say something different. After that, she changes the subject, asking permission from the guy about whether she can take his hand. Chu King makes a mental note that it's not interesting at all, because she doesn't even feel embarrassed when she says it. Then the guy himself takes the girl by the hand, which causes her confusion and then embarrassment. They stop. The hero notices that he hasn't done anything wrong, so he's confident. He touches the girl's cheek with his free hand. Tan Zian pulls away abruptly, grabbing the spot that the guy was touching. He nervously asks who allowed Chu King to pinch her. The same person laughs at this in response, noticing what is wrong. The girl changed that day. She didn't know why, but suddenly she felt a warm feeling in her heart. This had never happened before, as she had been trained as the heir to the family since she was a child. She had never seen anyone like Chu Kin. But that day, on the basketball court, she felt something. At that moment, she felt that Chu King was the most important person to her. When she's around him, she feels safe. She wants to rely on him completely. Tan Zian even slapped her face, not knowing what she was thinking. She is struck by these strange thoughts. The couple reaches the restaurant, where the hero immediately makes an order from 2 plates of hot noodles. And one he asks to make spicy and with vinegar, and the second without coriander.